For years, I've read Parsha Be'alotcha and not seen much connection between the beginning and the end. And the general question of why the Parshiot are broken up the way they are and what themes each one carries is a good one. It's a much bigger question for a year of study rather than one single teaching. But I'd like to suggest that this week I did see, in a very optimistic way, a connection between the beginning of the Parsha and the end of the Parsha. The beginning of the Parsha offers one of the most iconic images for the Jewish people. The end of the Parsha offers one of the most powerful narratives about one of the most complicated relationships in the world, and that's the relationship between siblings. So I would venture to say I don't know all of the siblings in this room, but I know a lot of siblings. I know a lot of your siblings in the room. I would say that as I say that each of us has a difficult sibling, everybody in this room knows exactly which of your siblings I'm talking about. And I'd offer you the advice, if you don't know which of your siblings is the complicated sibling, it's because you're the complicated sibling. Everybody has complicated siblings, at least one. And unlike your parents, who you're commanded to show respect, and unlike your partner that you choose, God willing, with careful consideration, your sibling is just somebody who's living in the next bed right next to you your entire life. And I'd say, as a person now in my 40s, those dynamics of the siblings, oldest, youngest, middle, they never really change your entire life. You sit down at a table, more people are added, spouses, children, whatnot, and the dynamics resemble exactly the dynamics of the kitchen table years and years, decades ago. The beginning of our Parsha here in Be'alotcha has God telling Moses to tell Aaron that he's going to be the one to light the menorah in the morning. Aaron is going to be the one to offer light in the tabernacle. I don't know about you, but my parents never chose me to come forward to say, now I want you to tell your brother or your sister, right, that they're going to be rewarded with this very special job. I want you to do it, right? This, in the beginning, from the outset, offers a very strange dynamic for us to understand. And every time we hear God tell Moses, go tell Aaron, it should be a strange dynamic that we're hearing. The dynamic between Moses and Aaron is one of the most fascinating relationships, and then you add in Miriam to the equation, and it is like a combustible family dinner always. So Aaron steps forward and enters an image so iconic that if you visit Jerusalem today, you will be walked up to a menorah and be told, this is the seal of the Jewish people, and you will take pictures in front of this most holy, iconic, remade menorah that stands in front of the Knesset in your khaki shorts and your bright orange hat that says, Israel Discovery Tours or whatever group that you're on, right? This will be the picture that will sit in your family room. This picture standing in front of this iconic menorah, because the menorah from the temple is something that we have come back to generation after generation to say this is what we're about, and conquerors have used it generation after generation to show that they have destroyed the Jewish people by using it in their images as well. Last year, or the year before, I believe, I brought forward images from the National Archives in Israel to show Zionists in cartoon images showing that they were bringing the menorah back, very much similar to the Arch of Titus image that showed the Romans carrying the menorah out of Jerusalem. When you turn to the end of Ba'alotcha, now I'm talking about the book of Numbers, chapter 12. We have this very short story about Miriam and Aaron and Moses. And it begins with Miriam and Aaron speaking about or against Moses, however you want to understand it, because I'm looking around to make sure there are no children in this room, right? Because Moses is not coming home at night. Moses is not coming home at night. And here the Torah tells us it's because he has taken a new woman or a new wife. Midrash tells us it's because Sipporah, his wife, is complaining at the well and is talking to Miriam, right? Because Miriam and Sipporah are close, apparently much closer than Moses and Sipporah at this point, at this stage in Moses' life. But you have two siblings talking about their third sibling, and they guess, we can guess the tone of that conversation, because I would venture to say that anybody in this room who has 3 siblings or more has had a conversation with a sibling of theirs about a third sibling that's not present in that conversation. So we know the way that this conversation goes. And God hears the conversation. And God says to them, God says, Shloshtekhem el ohel moed. That's it. The 3 of you get in the tent of meeting. Literally how the Hebrew reads. The 3 of you get we can insert whatever parenthetical, whatever, into the tent of meeting. So the 3 of them all walk over to the tent of meeting, because there is no age by which being reprimanded by your parents as siblings is inappropriate. They're over 100 years old by this point. They're over 100 years old, and they're all called into the tent of meeting. And Miriam is stricken with some version of leprosy. She's punished. Aaron is not punished. Miriam is punished. Because siblings are never punished equally. Never. Everybody who has brothers and sisters knows that as well. We're told Moses is the most humble man in the world in this story, the Torah tells us. And Miriam comes at him with Aaron with a charge of, infidelity, lack of responsibility. Does Moses apologize in the story? No. Does Miriam apologize after she's punished or ask for forgiveness? No. Because the dynamics don't change between siblings. Things are said, and here the portrait is laid down for us. You'd ask, why is Aaron the one who lights the menorah for the Jewish people? Because he knows his brother Moses, and he knows his sister Miriam, and in spite of everything that's happened, he turns to Moses and says, pray for her. I don't care what she has said to you. I don't care how embarrassing it was for you. I don't care what God has ruled for the 3 of us. Being siblings is a more powerful relationship than your relationship with God. And if ever there was a time for you to pray for anybody in the world, go stand before God now and pray for our sister. And Moses utters the perfect prayer, El na refa na la. Please, God, heal her. And she's healed. And if ever you doubt who is right and who is wrong, who the people love and who the people tolerate. Let's say respect. Right? Miriam is told that she has to go sit in the tent for 7 days because she was impure. And we're told at the end of this Torah reading that the people of Israel waited for Miriam to return from her quarantine. The tents did not move because the people refused to move without Miriam. Miriam offers, we all know what Miriam means. Miriam means mar yam, right? We all know the word mar from maror, bitter, yam meaning water, right? The rabbis tell us everybody should have, like Moses, somebody who gives them the bitter water to drink because it's good for you, but also because we need to hear it. Blair drinks vinegar in the morning, which I think is her version of this. But the people wait for Miriam. I would like to argue this morning that Aaron, who's known in the Torah as Rodef Shalom, as a seeker of peace, he is gifted the responsibility of lighting the menorah because the Jewish people are supposed to wake up in the morning and carry his disposition. It is easy, and as I get older, it's seemingly easier to wake up angry almost every single day when I read the news. And yet, I'm supposed to wake up, and the first thing I'm supposed to say is Mode'ani. It's thank you. And the first image that I'm supposed to think of is Aaron lighting the lights. I'm not supposed to think of Moses and judgment. And I'm not supposed to think of the bitter truth being served to people who disagree with me, who are clearly wrong. I'm supposed to think of Aaron. And this is something that comes up for me again and again, especially over the last month, especially when I read things that other rabbis have written, and I think to myself that I must be losing my mind. If I am a rabbi and they are a rabbi, then there is a problem with the term itself. And over the course of the day, I have to remind myself so many times that Aaron is the one who was asked to light the guiding flame for the Jewish people. Because in the end, we as a collective are all siblings. The highest order for us has to be some sort of reconciliation of getting along, of how to move forward. How to move forward from this point. We will recover from a brick being thrown through a window. But we will not recover from half of American Judaism saying we don't want to affiliate anymore with the state of Israel or any form of Zionism. Reconciliation and peacemaking and pursuing this kind of peace, bringing everybody back into the tent, is the only path forward. And we have to be optimistic that Jews will want to come back to the dinner table. Because we are siblings. And it is hard. And we didn't choose each other. We're the people who live down the block in the same neighborhood, generation after generation after generation. And if you study Jewish history, people do fall away. People do fall away, and new people join us. And when we reach these teetering points, when we're in a conflict between siblings, the easiest thing in the world to do is to scream or insult or hang up the phone or whatever the decisive victory would be in that conversation. The harder, more optimal decision is to be the one that turns to the siblings and says, I don't care what the fight is about. We're siblings. Pray for the well-being for your adversary, for your brother, for your sister. And so, for the first time, I connect the beginning of the Parsha with the end of the Parsha. I don't think it's a coincidence that we begin with Aaron lighting the menorah and end with Aaron telling his brother to pray for his sister. Ba'alotcha, in our raising up, we will only raise up if we can raise ourselves up together, always reaching for the better version of ourselves, always reaching for that Ner Tamid that Aaron lit so many years ago. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.